Oh no, please. All right, so now we get to do that all over again. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. New studio, new setup, new bugs, but no new problems because we just heard this news this morning that apparently the President of the United States has announced that he is defunding Big Bird, right, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. But depending on your attitude towards Big Bird, then you may or may not love or hate that. We've got a live studio audience. They might like Big Bird. It's a couple of young men. Ryan Cartoonid's family has come in for the APDC Liberty Tour, which kicked off yesterday here in Washington, D.C. And it's a good-sized group. Joining me now, my buddy, Louis Joseph Trotter III. Welcome to the show. Joseph's going to talk to us later about recycling because that's the kind of thing that people in Washington, D.C. talk about and care about. You and I here in flyover country in the beautiful state of Virginia now, we probably talk about things like guns. And as you'll see, we have, what is that, a beautiful Beretta?
That is that M9A4.
Oh my God. Joseph, do not tread on Joseph. He will mess you up royally. Joseph, glad you're here, and thanks to Ryan for bringing his beautiful family out here to Washington, D.C., and I'm looking forward to going to the American History Museum today, and if we have time, we'll try and go to Thomas Jefferson's memorial, which would mean, of course, yeah, we love Jefferson because he really does. He's on our shirt, right, and the Minecraft version of Thomas Jefferson. What's the back of my shirt say, Joe? I don't know if the audience will be able to see it, but... What is it? Did you read it?
What does it say?
What does it say?
Dangerous freedom is greater than peaceful slavery.
That's right. That's right. Let's give it up for Thomas Jefferson, ladies and gentlemen. One of the founders of the United States, and a reason to be inspired. Yesterday, my brother was talking about Jefferson and saying something like, "You know what? Yes, did Thomas Jefferson own slaves? Yes, but don't talk about Grandpa like that. He is like the father of our country in many ways." Or at least his ideas were. We're going to George Washington's house tomorrow. Everybody could say, there's the father of our country. Absolutely. Let's go for George Washington. The man had the guts to stand up and fight for his rights to free speech and to the Second Amendment, to have that sit gun right there sitting behind us, and to be able to pass that down to our sons, and to grow up to be a man. You know, if there's one thing about America and Donald Trump, like, he's made it okay to be a man again. Let's make men great again. Men. Let's get up for the men. That was kind of the whole joke once Trump got elected, right? Is that it was like all these like rich white liberal chicks who didn't want to vote for Trump, and then everybody else in the United States voted for Trump, right? Black, white, didn't matter. Is it Trump was popular? I mean, he's just a universal name at this. We all talk about him every day in our homes, right, Joe?
And yeah, and frankly, he brought back a lot of sanity and common sense. And
they love that word. They love that phrase, common sense.
Yeah, but common sense is not common in this.
It's not common sense, guys. Not very common. You'll find out that it's really that's about wisdom. I've been thinking a lot about wisdom lately. What makes wisdom? I'm reading Aristotle again, but I don't want to go down an ancient Greek rabbit hole. Even though yesterday we saw the U.S. Capitol, it was absolutely beautiful. We met Congressman Bob Onder, Dr. Bob, and we got to sort of see how government works a little bit. I always like to explain it. It's like when you go to the Capitol, when you go to the to government buildings, it's like a bunch of lizards wearing human skin.
Controlled by the satellites?
Controlled by the satellites, and then the Jewish space lasers have to get him down, right? Which, speaking of, Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently looking at possibly running for governor of Georgia.
Oh, geez.
Oh, boy. Oh, Lord, we're going to have a lot of fun with that one. At least there'll be lots to talk about on the Wake Up America show, and there always is. But, of course, it wouldn't be a show if we weren't doing our plugs. And I have today for you, Joe Trotter, I brought you a gift all the way from Liberty Land of the tea. This is the tea. We have distilled the essence of the tea that was tossed into Boston Harbor when the Revolutionary Patriots, and I guess we don't know their names, potentially it's up for debate, for those who threw the tea in the harbor. Joseph, I gift you a bag of Boston Harbor Black from forlibertyshop.com. Let's hear it up for the Liberty Shop.
See, Austin, the fun part about your products, you got the great branding, but it's good.
It is good. Thank you for saying that, Joe. Read the reviews.
The coffees, the oak barrel coffee, that...
Oh, bro. So that's the Liberty Tonight's exclusive one, but I'll tell you this. Our Jeffersonian Java in the shop, the coffee, is the #1 seller at forlibertyshop.com.
Good.
And you know what? When I saw, what I said to Dr. Bob yesterday when I saw him in Congress on Capitol Hill? I said, Dr. Bob, I sell coffee. Do you know where that comes from? Colombia. You know who pays tax dollars in your district? I do. You know what? Sometimes you got to remind these people that they work for you. Let's hear it for citizens who represent their constituents. Right? Let's hear it for that. That's all I got to say is that they're supposed to do the people's job, not be this big jet-setting intellectual. And we're the bosses of everyone, and we're too busy to talk to normal people and stuff. Thankfully, Dr. Bob is not like that. He's a good man. We're blessed where I live to have a representative who is at least close to what I believe, which is in individual liberty. That you, the individual, have the right to earn a living, to grow up, to start a business, and to prosper in this country. Because there are people who think that we all ought to be living in mud huts. There are people who think that it doesn't matter if I have nothing, as long as no one else has anything else as well. And when we talk about values and we talk about morals, what do we stand for? We stand for the right to earn a living and to keep the fruit of your labor. And that's why we're all hoping Donald Trump's going to cut taxes. Like, who wants a Trump tax cut? Let's hear it. We don't have sound effects today. I can't push the applause button. But applause, damn it. Tax cuts. Right, Joe? You want some tax cuts?
I would love some tax cuts.
Why? Well, why do you want to keep more of your money? You're so selfish, Joe.
I mean, the concept of limited government and free markets is just so radical, guys. I mean, the concept that you would benefit from your own labor and have an incentive to do more. Gosh, just what crazy thinking.
I'm laughing at the chat over there right now. They're all hanging out with Amy J. Ease, who is on the trip with us here. She's a registered nurse in Central Missouri. Big supporter of the show. Cecilia's here. She's also with us on the Liberty Tour. We're so glad and thankful that we've been able to put together this trip because for us, it just reminds us, that it's important to do things in real life, Joe. It's important to have friends. So many people are isolated. They're on their phones all day long, and they don't have good interactions. And honestly, if we're going to get healthy, we need to be... I read an article, Joe, that said people don't go to parties. Now, you party. Don't you, Joe?
I throw the parties.
Joe is the party man. So we appreciate Joe for being a good party thrower because people used to go to lots of parties, and they just don't anymore. When you grow up, you want to go to parties, and you want to, enjoy life with friends because if we're too isolated, we become paranoid, and I think we're too afraid to, talk to our neighbors. Then hell, we had to run dude, there was a tornado, and I took my whole family, and we ran to the neighbor's house, because we ain't got a basement, unfortunately. And in the Midwest, but that's why it's good to know your neighbors, Joe.
It's important to touch grass, get out there, have good interactions. I mean, what makes America so great is the people. And if we're, not uniting, getting to know each other, what makes it worth it?
Don't you think, too, that, people really need, healthier hobbies? We're talking about Robert F. Kennedy. He's the new head of the he's the Health and Human Services Secretary. And so he's talking about make America healthy again. And, we're talking about kind of being mentally healthy, just being able to let loose and party. But, I mean, it would help people to get up off the couch and maybe do what you do. Go for a kayak on George Washington's river, right?
Yeah, if we want to get technical, we are on, I believe it's Field 7 of what used to be Washington's estate. And, the beauty of the nature out here, being able to get out, go have fun with friends, go experience nature with friends. I mean, the great outdoors. There was a bit of a resurgence during the COVID years where people were getting out there, and not with each other, but getting out there, and it's kind of died off a little bit. And we need to not be afraid of each other and what's out there.
I love it. I mean, tomorrow we're going to go to George Washington's house on the tour. We're going to see where he lived, and we're going to see, where he's laid to rest. And, I really think about the American Revolution, and I think about the founding of the United States probably more than what is healthy. Laugh. Please laugh. But I just know that, what they gave to us, the foundations, the bedrock principles is, we the people. What does that mean? That means that we the people are free to live our lives as accordingly in the Bill of Rights. And what amendments we don't talk enough about in the Bill of Rights? I love the Second Amendment. But what we don't talk about? The Ninth and the 10th Amendments, Joe. What do you think about federalism?
Oh, federalism's great. So, I mean, part of what makes, we have the federal government, and we can boo that all day. But the interesting part is we have 50 laboratories of democracy where you can go out and you can move to where you have people reflect your values. You can go ahead and change the system. It's just an experiment of, what works, what doesn't. It's the free market of people moving from state to state if they want to. That's what really makes America great. If we're going to talk about what makes America great again, talk about make America healthy again. Well, first of all, get healthy. Second of all, return to the foundational principles of the United States. And I'm not like an original intent guy necessarily when it comes to the Constitution, the way I look at the Constitution. Like, how did the founders envision it? I definitely think that's very important, but it's not necessarily the whole picture of what the Constitution means. But when we talk about the Ninth and the 10th Amendments, that means that all the biggest decisions that the government it's a limitation on the powers of the government and an invitation of the individuals to practice their liberties as they see fit. But you know what the problem is? Sometimes people use their freedoms in ways that other people don't like. And that's why government exists, doesn't it, Joe? Because some people can't leave other people alone. Am I wrong? They can't. And gosh, if there's one thing this country needs, it's a whole lot of knowing that your opinion is not necessarily the be-all, end-all. Live and let live, for the most part.
For the most part.
If you're not hurting people, don't take your stuff.
But if you're trying to kill us, then for that, there is the U.S. military. Let's give it up for the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. If we had time and we could drive out to it, I would take the tour to Quantico. That would be on the extended AP DC Liberty tour. And today we're going to go to the U.S. History Museum. I got something for the ladies. I'm sure the ladies are all excited to see the First Lady exhibit, and we're also going to go, of course, to for the boys, the history of American wars and some of the artifacts they have there, Joe.
Oh, it's cool stuff.
From the Civil War. Oh man, and the guns they have on display, Joe. Joe has some of those guns, I'm sure, somewhere hidden away. If there's a zombie apocalypse, guys, you better hope that your Joe is in your bunker because you'll be well supplied. Speaking of, the Second Amendment is what we're all about here on the Wake Up America show, and I'm so glad to see Ryan wore his amazing forlibertyshop.com neon machine gun, and he's got the Hawaiian style shirt, which was the original. Yeah, and he's got the skulls with the hearts in the eyes. A very nice touch. I spent actually a lot of time designing those, and I'm glad that people are out there enjoying them. You went under a black light, you'll be the coolest kid at the party at the college party. We also have a baseball version of it. You can get it at forlibertyshop.com. We'll have the Ryan come out here and show you a shirt here just in a little bit. But I'm so excited. I can't even, I feel I'm like just going to flip because I was on Fox News yesterday morning, and then here's the new headline. Listen to this. Trump terminates NPR, National Public Radio, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, PBS, federal funding with sweeping executive order. Let's hear it for President Trump. Thank you, sir. So I'm kidding myself, Joe, but I like to think that he was watching like on Air Force One really early in the morning. He got up and was watching and was like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that.
Well, the good news is they can now rely on viewers like you.
Exactly. If you want to donate to my competition and Fox News' competition, then you can do so freely. But, Joe, the taxpayer should not have to pay to be propagandized.
Oh, I don't think there's a significant overlap in your two viewerships, but yeah. It shouldn't be propagandizing. And that's one of the fun parts of this administration is we're seeing a rollback in just all of this big government overreach. You know, if viewers want it and they want to fund it, more power to them. But a federal government that does that, come on, guys.
Yeah, no kidding. What you realize when you grow up is that you are funding so many things that you obviously go against your values, but then you're also funding your literal competition. Yeah, there may not be a lot. I listen to NPR sometimes. Every once in a while I'll listen to a podcast or read them. I read people that I disagree with, and I listen to people that I disagree with, even that's not popular though, Joe, I'll tell you. I've had a debate with someone, and they were arguing that it was like, oh, you need fewer friends in this group of people who think this way. And I don't agree with that attitude. I really think, we're Americans. You're Republican or Democrat. At the end of the day, we all live together in these communities, and I hope that we can have some semblance of standards of decency to one another. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, look, people who disagree with you aren't evil necessarily. It's just
you're Hitler.
And this is something a lot of America needs to learn. I'd say about 49% of it that voted the other way. Mm-hmm. You're not. People aren't just inherently evil because they have different views, and it's important to get a bigger perspective, gain different perspectives, and there's some balance to it. It tempers our own worst instincts the way we do to them too.
Well, let's talk about this story. So President Trump signs an executive order late Thursday night terminating federal funding for NPR and PBS. NPR and PBS, which have long been targeted for cuts by conservatives, both receive partial funding through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which the president argued is unnecessary in the current media environment. Yeah! I mean, this is classic Trump, and here's the thing. It's in his own best interest. These are his enemies. They're hating him. They're destroying him. Why should the taxpayer have to pay to essentially campaign against him on taxpayer dime?
It's interesting. Once he came along and DOGE came along and all this funding got cut, we've been hearing from a lot less groups that are out there, things like protests, things like that. It really makes you wonder exactly how much the federal government was just funding people who just were radically disagreeing with them. Which
is why we all here love and give a hearty round of applause for DOGE, Elon Musk, and the Department of Government Efficiency. Let's hear it for DOGE, yes. Well, let me tell you something about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Did they revise their estimates down from $1 trillion in savings to $150 billion? Yes. Does that make us unhappy? Certainly. However, there would have been no DOGE under Kamala Harris, right, Trump? Or excuse me, right, Joe? Right, Joe?
My hair is perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, no, look, I don't even think that's a bad thing. As long as it was one less dollar spent, I'd still be cheering it on. So it would have been great for $1 trillion, but $150 billion, heck, I'll take it.
Yeah, so the CPB board, Corporation for Public Broadcasting, shall cease direct funding to NPR and PBS, consistent with my administration's policy, to ensure the federal funding does not support biased and partisan news coverage. That's our job, the Wake Up America show. Ha 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 ha. The CPB board shall shall cancel existing direct funding to the maximum extent allowed by law and shall decline to provide future funding. You know that there's somewhere, there's an army of white liberal women out there who read this headline this morning and were like, they're in their cars, they're recording the TikTok videos right now, Joe. They're freaking out, man! And they are freaking out, man.
Yeah, but kind of the crazy thing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I mean, they take federal money, but it's not just a huge amount. That's the thing. It'll be up to individuals to pick up the slack.
No, exactly.
If it's worth it, they'll do it.
Well, that used to be the Democrats used to say that all the time. That was their talking point. If you were to go to dinner at the Kennedy Center and drink a martini with a liberal, they would say, well, most of the funding does come from private sources. Well, good. Then you don't need our money. But, you know, it's a moral issue. It's a fiscal issue. It's a conservative issue. It's a libertarian issue. It's the kind of issue that I think, you know, everybody in the right applauds, right?
Yeah. I think we're going to be talking today about a few different things that are going to be having to secure their own funding.
For sure. Oh, such as?
Colleges.
Oh, universities. Oh, hey, let's talk about Harvard University, Donald Trump. There are people out there who are actually rooting for Harvard. I'm sorry, what's the motto of...
My alma mater's unofficial motto is F Harvard.
Cornell, yes, thank you. Like a certain Office character who went to Cornell, Joseph Louis Trotter III, went to Cornell himself. Let's give it up for the Ivy Leagues, yes. They're so fancy, Joe. And you know what Thomas Sowell said? He had this great quote. He says, whenever there's chaos or whenever there's disaster in the United States, you can be certain there's a man at Harvard in the middle of it. But these are our elite universities, Joe. Don't they need federal funding to survive? How will Harvard survive without federal taxpayer dollars?
Whatever are they going to do with a $50 billion endowment and growing, and as well as their own supporters? Maybe they could charge tuition on
One would have
administrators.
One would have to wonder that with their esteemed reputation, that people would be, people are dying to get in. How do you lose money on something where a product or a service? How do you lose money on something that people are desperate for, that will do anything, pay any amount of money for? What on God's green earth could you ever need a taxpayer dollar for a service that is obviously so desired and necessary, like education?
Well, you need it to prop yourself up when you piss off all your donors by letting people run absolutely amok, screaming genocidal chants.
Oh God, the Jew question, right, Joe? The honorary Jew, welcome. We're gonna do a mitzvah here. Stephanie's not here. Well, let's give it up for Steffi. She's working so hard behind the scenes, taking care of little baby Hazel. Let's give it up for Steffi P for Liberty. She does so much to help make the Wake Up America show happen, and for the For Liberty shop, the merch shop to happen. We all love Steffi, and we certainly appreciate that Hazel has been so patient, and she's been such a good little girl. And it's been a family trip. It's fun to have kids around. Kids are great. I believe the children are our future.
I'm just enjoying that we're all gingers.
No, I don't know what it is. It's like ginger mania, I guess. Something in the Liberty world, like in Liberty adjacent world, where they're just, for whatever reason, redheads a plenty,
I mean, even the dog's name is Ginger.
That's right, Ginger. We got a lot of gingers. Joe's a ginger, Hazel's a ginger, Steffi's a ginger. There's like so many ginger-headed, like libertarian girls out there all competing for the title. But for me, there's only one ginger, and that's my smoking hot redheaded libertarian ginger wifey, Steffi P. Thank you for all you do for liberty and for the cause and to help support the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty. The Wake Up America show doesn't exist in its current form without Steffi, for sure. So we need to get Joe a good woman, if there's any good ladies out there.
Well, I'm your second most beautiful ginger stand-in.
Very true, very true. And Joe's been a great friend of mine for years. He was my communications director for my presidential campaign. He did a damn good job, and he is a professional. We're going to talk about what you're doing these days. You're now executive director of an institution that's been created to make sure that we have clean water and clean hunting grounds.
Yeah, so it's a group of outdoorsmen and conservationists. You can't say conservative without conserve. Mm-hmm. Looking to basically, and we're going back to basic principles here, make sure that basically deal with America's enormous litter problem in a way that's free market, brings value to the supply chain, and just keeps nature beautiful.
You know, it's important to conserve. My dad said, you know, he always said growing up, you know, I'm not an environmentalist, Austin, he says, but I am a conservationist. And he's like, I do like the ideas of conserving. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about, you know, Trump, they compare him to Teddy Roosevelt. And the thing about Teddy Roosevelt that I liked, and not necessarily that he spent taxpayer dollars to create the parks, but I do believe in a sense of preservation, like Yellowstone and certain public lands set aside for people to visit, like Yellowstone. I do think probably privatizing a lot of parks might even make sense, but Teddy Roosevelt created the parks, created this beautiful National Park Service, and I enjoyed, I appreciated the hunting, the fishing. I mean, part of American conservatism that makes us cowboys is the beautiful natural preserves and lands of the United States that we set aside and conserve.
And it's awesome. It's just we've gone from national parks, which again are great, but now you have national forests, then you have BLM land, then you have, you know, monuments that are used to technically just go ahead and declare these wide swaths of land off limit from actual like energy production, farming, and things like that. And it's just gone way too far. We take these good ideas. I
agree. I agree. And here's the thing. It's like, you know, Yellowstone, we're talking about a volcano here that creates hot jets of like not only like lava, but beautiful like pools. And some of these pools are toxic chemicals that if you stand too close to them, you will die. And people have died in these parks because they decided to tempt fate and they got too close to the toxic pool. But preserve that, sure, yeah. I mean, you know, don't create more if you're a corporation. Don't create toxic pools if you are a corporation and then dump them in the environment without some kind of a plan for disposal, right, Joe?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because, you know, we all want to appreciate the beautiful land, and, you know, it's this land is your land, this land is my land. No, it's Woody Guthrie, he's a communist. You'll learn someday about Woody Guthrie, boys, when they have you sing that song. But, you know, I'm not a communist, I'm not a fascist, I'm a libertarian, I believe in the Constitution. I ran into an anarchist on Capitol Hill yesterday, Joe. Can you believe that?
I can believe he told you he was an anarchist.
It was a woman, it was a girl, she was an anarchist, yeah.
You can always tell who they are, because they'll tell you.
Yeah, anarchists are like vegans and vegetarians. Or CrossFitters, how's that, right?
Gluten-free.
Yes, everybody's got to have a healthy workout regime. I do martial arts. Joe, you like to go kayaking out on George Washington's estate.
Little Hunting Creek.
Little Hunting Creek.
It's not little, you're not allowed to hunt. Mm-hmm. That's a river, not a creek.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. And Joe, I guess your parents hadn't heard that now I'm like a full-blown martial arts instructor.
Yeah, you're a karate instructor, apparently.
Hell yeah, man, kicking butt.
I've seen his sick moves.
Yeah, it's true, it's true. Joe would always see me after I got back from class. It's hard to say I have a favorite dojo, but definitely I got to give it up to my sensei, Richard Romero, who taught me Kyokushinkai karate. I went to Japan 2 years ago with Stephanie now, but we went during cherry blossom season, and I did karate in Osaka. Steven Seagal, if anybody knows who Steven Seagal is, remembers him out there back in the day. He was like a martial arts instructor in Japan, which is how he became legit, and then came home to the United States and made a bunch of movies where he would run like this.
Aikido.
Aikido. And now he hangs out with Vladimir Putin. And
this is my preferred martial art.
Yeah, martial art. Gun fu. I hope you guys are enjoying the show this morning. It's a little unorthodox. We're on the road. We're doing the APDC Liberty Tour. I saw that somebody had already given us some money, and I want to shout out Quest Fanning. Thank you, Quest. He dropped a $10 Rumble Rant. He said he remembers when Newt Gingrich led the push to have public funding to PBS. He personally contributed $5,000, but asserted that other folks shouldn't have to pay for the shows he liked to watch. Give it up for... You don't often hear a whole lot of Newt Gingrich wins these days. Although Newt's still out there. He's still moving and shaking, isn't he?
Newt lives 4 miles that way.
Newt Gingrich, apparently, he also lives on George Washington's house. Hey, just an FYI for those who are watching, and I thank you to all who are logged in and signed in watching us this morning, is that now, since we've raised $10, we're on the track to unlock the bonus content, which we do have for today. So if you would like to see today's bonus content, I have produced, or I will say my company, because let's give it up for Brad Beckman, working behind the scenes to help to make all this work as well. BB for Liberty, if you're out there, bud, we appreciate you. And Brad made a 5-minute documentary for you all to watch today. It is a Lego mini documentary. So if you want to see it, you've got one chance and one chance only, and that's to unlock the bonus content by the end of today. If we hit $75 raised by the end of the show, and that can be either through direct payments like Quest, or if you go to forlibertyshop.com, if you're like, I wish I was on the Liberty Tour, I want that shirt, you can get it at forlibertyshop.com. But I think you will love the Donald Trump Gulf of America collection. We've got the new shirt, and that is Taco Time Trump, and he's got his taco, he's got his sombrero, and he's at the Gulf of America. So if you want to get your Taco Trump Gulf of America t-shirt, get it at forlibertyshop.com, as well as another new shirt that we made. Joe, see if you get this one. Smart people sound like crazy people to stupid people. Grab the shirt, forlibertyshop.com. The number 4, libertyshop.com. You go to my website, you'll see not only all of our Gulf of America merchandise, our towels are really hot right now. The beach towels, so hot right now, Hansel. But check out the Donald Trump collection and the DOGE collection because, 100 days of DOGE. And then what are they going to do without Elon Musk? I don't know. I just don't see DOGE without Elon. What about you?
I mean, I see it as a heat-seeking missile. He's got it on track. He's got the folks on the ground. They're doing what they're doing. I mean, one of the great things about Elon is once he starts something, it's able to generally maintain and keep moving. And, we'll miss him, but at the same time, I mean, he set this heat-seeking missile up on its correct course.
I guess it makes a lot of sense. It's like a tomahawk. You only use it once, but you spend a lot of money. But DOGE is the opposite. DOGE is about saving money. DOGE is about protecting the taxpayer's dollar, hard-earned dollar, and not paying for. Get this. Ohio State University got $669,000 to study the impact of marijuana smoke on LGBTQIA plus females. $600,000 to sit around and let gay women or men, whatever, smoke weed. What is wrong with this country?
I mean, that sounds like a great gig.
Can
got
you
a bunch
imagine?
of federal dollars to get some marijuana.
Sign me up.
To give to the lesbians?
No. Well, that's the thing. The lesbians didn't even get the money because they went to the university and they had to, the taxpayers had to pay for it. They went to the university. The university probably took 90%, and then they only paid for the
other 10% was their weed budget.
You're paying for it. You're paying for it. So when people criticize Elon Musk or they're like, DOGE, I hate these signs I'm seeing in your neighborhoods where they go, here in Virginia, there's a lot of these Democrats, protect federal workers. And we're like, no! Boo! We need a far few. We've got plenty of federal workers, Joe. I like to see crying USAID employees being frog marched out of the U.S. the Ronald Reagan building. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, there are just a ton of federal workers in the D.C. area. I'm most looking forward to watching the federal government get spread across the United States. Let's spread the love to the people.
Yes.
Let's have the common sense.
Let's take D.C. out of D.C.
Let's put the ag department within 100 miles of like farmland.
Mm-hmm. If you want to make America great again, then maybe consider having government that is closer to the people that it governs. Not that I enjoy having the IRS in Kansas City, but I will say, that I think that there's something to be said for having the government that you are voting for, paying for, being accountable to you, being members of your citizens, other than creating this kind of like this diamond federal sort of like, I don't know, what would you call this? Like a city state in a sense, like DC, yeah.
I mean, it's not a real state. It should never be a real state.
Never.
I mean, this is supposed to be the home of the federal government that is answerable to the people.
Yeah.
And you've got all these, they have the license plates everywhere that say, no taxation without representation. And it's like, oh, come on, guys.
Oh my God, it is so stupid. It's so stupid. But but that's because they love that because, of course, it means that if there's representation, then they can have taxpayer dollars. And they can pretend like they represent us when in actuality doing quite the opposite. Thank you to all the 50 people who are watching us live on Rumble. Thank you to Cecilia, who says, my mom just said if you run for something in Missouri, she would vote for you, look like you have a supporter. I'm not sure I would. I'm almost at the point now where it's like, if nominated, I will not run, or whatever. No, I see what they go through, and it is hell. It's public service, and it's supposed to be public service. That's for a reason. It's not there so you can become, Mr. The most famous, brilliant genius in the universe, or whatever, just lord over your fellow man. But you're supposed to go to Washington, D.C. and do public service. And these people have forgotten what it means to be a public servant, right, Joe?
And to be fully answerable to the people. I mean, once you get in there, this is a whole other conversation, but these people get these jobs, and you could say this about a lot of the federal government. They get these jobs, they're tenured, they're there for life, and they get further and further removed from the people. So it's always great to see fresh blood.
I love the fact that Elon has started a conversation in this country about what it means to be a Republican and what Donald Trump is about. I think, seeing so many prominent people like Jeff Bezos and so many others who kind of like came along board with Trump, and some of them maybe a little bit too late, right, just to protect their own butts even. But I will say that, like, there was definitely a realignment in this country in the past election. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of a return to sanity. It was time for something new, and sometimes something new is something old. And this country is going through all kinds of craziness under the Biden administration, like especially in the end of the Obama years. Like, just watching what made America great suddenly become demonized was just awful. I mean... Yeah,
and, I think Donald Trump, first 100 days, pretty good. I mean, if he didn't have a lot of these judges that he's dealing with, which, they are a branch of government, co-sovereign with the president, they have their prerogatives, but, I mean, it's so blatantly, nakedly partisan, the way that he's attacked. So, whenever the left is constantly in crisis mode every single day, which obviously they're out of power, but I mean, it's not like Trump's passed a lot of legislation, but I mean, the executive orders are a good start.
Yeah, I mean, people are complaining about what's going on with executive orders. What Trump is doing, he's harnessing the powers that there's this precedent of executive authority, and we're probably on the same page on this. But there has been this just deferment to everything executive, and I'm always going to argue Congress should do its job, but basically Trump is doing with the powers he's allowed right now what Democrats and Republicans have been doing for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And it's interesting to see it in action. It's interesting to see it happen so quickly. I mean, DC's not used to seeing things happen this quickly. Mm-hmm. And
they love the slow pace, the snail's pace. And in some ways I love it too, because the way that the Constitution was written was meant to prevent any one man or any one person or entity from having such total power that they could do what they want with impunity. And you can even see they're always like, Trump's going to be a dictator. He's going to be a dictator. But I mean... how? Nobody, like all the institutions of the government, the world is opposed to Donald Trump. Donald Trump has his MAGA loyalists, and he has like some independents and people who came on board because of the common sense. But otherwise, the world is fighting him tooth and nail, and he is literally fighting like almost the entire world, is he not?
Yeah, pretty much. And what else he has on his side? We're going to do a throwback to the Obama years. He has a pen and a phone.
Thank you, President Obama. Yes. I will never forget in 2008 when President Obama was just getting inaugurated. I was working at the Libertarian Party, and Mark was with me, and all these liberal kids this college professor had brought in. He had ginned them up to hate like libertarianism. He had like given them the questions in advance to kind of like, set them up. And so we read to him a little bit from Friedrich Hayek and The Road to Serfdom, and I cannot tell you how offended they were by what I was, when they said, because they were all there to worship Obama on his inauguration day. And they go, so you think President Obama will become a dictator? And I said, yes. And they were like, and he was with Obamacare and his mandates and his paternalism. And he's not our daddy, he's not the boss of me. He's not. And even Trump, like, for all of his authoritarian impulses on trade or, whatever you want to say, you could say, Barack Obama, just because Barack Obama is cool, calm, and collected, doesn't mean that he's not an assassin. He's a silent killer. He always has been.
Yeah, I mean,
How many kids did he bomb in the Middle East? I mean, President Obama, when he hit the button, boom, and it's like all of a sudden Trump does it, and the media's like, no! They love it when Democrats bomb people in the Middle East, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Please clap.
Yeah, I love it when Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, exactly. I love Elizabeth Warren. She said the other day, she's like, of course I support the tariffs. Of course, yeah, we need some tariffs. She's like, but the way Trump is doing it is just so wrong. It's like, if the Democrats just want to do the same kind of stuff, they just want it to be Democrat tariffs.
Yeah, when the Democrats complain like about process, it's guys, there was a precedent set here. Like,
well, speaking of process, I mean, we should probably talk about the immigration question here because, I don't know about you, but I think that the illegal immigration problem under Biden was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. And does the federal government need to have the authority to prosecute and to deport violent criminal gang members, people who have known to commit dangerous, violent crimes in this country and ship them off to El Salvador? Yes. Does the government need to do that? Sure. Do they need to have due process? Also, yes. But what does due process look like is the good question. And J.D. Vance brought that up. I mean, how do you feel about it, Joe?
I mean, growing up in the D.C. area, we have had a problem with MS-13 for literally decades. I mean, we're talking 90s till today. I know people who had their homes just like tear gassed by MS-13. People rolling around with guns. It was some real hardcore third world stuff. And then you had attacks in the news. You had children and teens let off and just violently killed by these people. And it was big in the area, Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC. And even the DC gangs, when MS-13 rolled in, they rolled up shop and got out of town. It was kind of crazy watching this.
And this is cartel activity.
This is cartel activity. It's decentralized for the most part, but with a decent amount of direction from El Salvador. And what we've seen is finally it being taken seriously. And it's always crazy to me when in Washington, D.C., the seat of the American federal government, you have these enormous problems. You've got, crime. You've got just all this stuff, and it's not taken seriously. It's a national embarrassment when something like this happens in D.C. This has been a 30-year problem. And to watch Trump go ahead and finally tackle it head on, I mean...
yes, we need... Here's the thing. That's what Trump wins on. That immigration issue, that's what a lot of independent voters voted for him for. And, people say, oh, well, the Democrats are for open borders. But, I mean, Bernie Sanders is not an open borders guy. But we don't want Bernie Sanders managing immigration policy because they will make sure that every bi person of color from South America makes their way north into the United States. And for the Democrats, it is a voter thing. I think it is. I think that the fact that the Democrats want so much illegal immigration, it is because they do see it as a natural voting base for them. What do you think?
An eventual voting base. Look, back on the campaign, there was talk about the Ellis Island Protocol. In order to, if people wanted to come here and they want to be here legally, make it relatively easy. Make sure they're healthy. Make sure that they're not a security risk, and kind of go. I wish. Maybe not quite that far, but it would be great if we had a more sane immigration system in terms of a legal pathway. But I'm never going to sit here and abide by people starting out their tenure in this country by rolling through, breaking the law, and disappearing. And turning around, getting fake social security numbers, stealing identities, things like that. I'm glad that Trump won in part because we can go ahead and say, they are here illegally, not, non-indigenous person of whatever who, let's intersectionality, analyze why they wound up. No, they are here illegally. Their tenure in this country began with a crime.
Yeah.
And I can't abide by that.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with some of your points and I disagree with others. I would say that in terms of the Ellis Island Protocol, I still agree with that in theory, just because... And we should be working towards something that is reasonable because we do need immigration in this country. Without immigration, we wouldn't have Elon Musk, right? We wouldn't have DOGE. There would be no Tesla, right? There would be, if Albert Einstein wants to come to the United States, Albert Einstein should come. I will fight tooth and nail to bring Albert Einstein to the United States. But our immigration policy doesn't really effectively do things like that, because we can barely keep the gates closed and to deal with the actual national security problems we have before we talk about letting in Albert Einstein. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, the legal system, it's points for this, points for that, lotteries here. It's going to be interesting seeing the gold card program and how that works. There's just no incentive at that point to come here legally. And human behavior works, and just by good incentives. So.
I will say on the voting issue that it's kind of like, it's a little distorted from the fact that illegal immigrants, like if they're voting, and I saw Lars in the chat, let's get up for Lars. He said, thank God the New York Supreme Court nixed non-citizen voting in New York City, which kind of surprised me to a point, but it also reminds me of the fact that that's another example of illegal immigrants are voting. That's another example of a job that Americans will not do. Ha ha ha. Because it is true. Why don't more Americans vote? They're not civically engaged. And the ones who do vote, Joe, they vote once every 4 years, and they don't realize how our system of government works. These young men here, they're about to go to their civics class in history. They're right at the age where they're going to start learning and understanding the tools and the systems that they're going to be governed by, that they're going to be controlled. Their lives and everything that they do will be controlled, will it not, by the federal government, state government, or the local government? Will it? You did, yeah. You guys have already started learning about the Constitution and the laws of the land and the Bill of Rights and stuff. Good.
Well, a lot of people, especially these days, are learning that you may not care about politics. Politics cares about you.
It cares about you a lot. And when you go and write that first tax check from your paycheck, you will be a right-wing Republican voter, Donald Trump voter one day, trust me. But is that the problem? Is that the left are not net taxpayers, Joe? Are they taking more than they're receiving?
I mean, not just that. I think part of the reason that there was just this movement towards more taxes is hearing where the money was going once it got into the federal coffers. You had these kind of scammy but well-connected NGOs that were getting, 5, 10, 15, $50+ million from the federal government, and like that money was going here. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this, it's interesting how many protest groups just cleared up once certain government programs weren't giving grants anymore.
Yeah.
You saw this, like, it wasn't just we want more taxes. It was almost a direct pipeline to just the politically well-connected and their supporters. It was wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny too, because like there's so much hypocrisy in Washington D.C. and even on our state level governments too. You really can kind of see it, how they are like little microcosms of what Washington D.C. can be. Like the state governments can be just as dysfunctional, if not more, right?
They can, but they can also be more awesome. It's a high risk, high reward type situation.
Yeah.
State legislators, some of the best people I've ever met in the political realm are state legislators. I love working with them.
Yeah.
I again grew up in the D.C. area, and the federal government, a surprisingly small amount actually gets done in this town. But you look at the state capitals, and you've got good ones like Utah,
Missouri.
I mean, I'm dealing with the fun in Texas right now. There are some great things happening in state capitals, but.
Well, I'm just glad that that you're civically engaged. I work with my state lawmakers in my state to try and make my state a better place, because a lot of times what the federal government is doing doesn't have any application to your life. So much stuff that they do, like at the end of the day, only really affects you from the fact that they're taking your tax dollars to do it. But what happens on your state government matters. What happens on the local government will make big changes to your life, depending on how a tax increase may go in your district. If you own a house, they'll control what you do. We're going to take a little break, guys, and we're going to do a little 5-minute stretch. We're going to roll commercials. We haven't unlocked the bonus content yet, but it's actually, Joe, it's easy to unlock the bonus content. You don't have to just do $5, $10 rants. If you go to forlibertyshop.com during the commercial break, go to forlibertyshop.com, go get yourself a Gulf of America t-shirt or a box of Founding Flavors coffee, maybe a bag of our brand new Boston Harbor Black For Liberty at forlibertyshop.com. Joe?
Don't forget the Tumblr to put it all in.
Yeah.
I love this merch.
Yes, my merch is the best. It's at forlibertyshop.com. It's the best merch. Nobody else has it. The best Trump merch. Go to forlibertyshop.com. Enjoy the commercial break, guys. We'll be back in 5 minutes to talk more about immigration on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. So transition. When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. Small batch roasted, Patriot approved, and disappearing faster than a red coat at Yorktown. Don't get left behind, soldier. Real patriots are starting their mornings with Founding Flavors. And trust us, freedom tastes better with a fresh cup in your hand. Stop drinking those tyrant brews who take your money and don't support your values. Stocks are limited, demand is booming, and your morning deserves a taste of liberty. Order now at forlibertyshop.com before the next shipment gets signed, sealed, and sold out. Founding Flavors Coffee, the official brew of morning rebellions everywhere. Get yours at forlibertyshop.com.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins! Welcome back to the Wake Up America show on the road with the For Liberty tour. Thanks so much, Joe Trotter, hanging out with us. Joe, sticking around. And let's give it up for the Cartoonins. They are fully decked out. The Cartoonin family, repping DOGE, repping machine guns, call the cops, I don't give a flip, trucker hats. The Liberty Tour t-shirt that I'm wearing today. Today we're going to the American History Museum, Joe. It's a great museum.
It's an awesome museum. They got all kinds of good stuff. I hear there's a First Lady exhibit that the ladies are going to love.
Oh, yeah,
And,
we're going to have fun.
I spend my time in the America at War section.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a neocon.
Well, you're a neo. Did you say you're a neocon? No! No
Too
neo.
old to get drafted now.
Yeah, Joe's always been a neocon. You know, Dave Smith warned me about you. When we had a debate, he said, I need fewer neocon friends. Because I said, hey, you need to talk to people you disagree with on things. But, you know, apparently you've had too much influence over me, Joe. I'm not a real libertarian anymore.
Not a real.
Oh, hit the aw button. Oh.
I mean, only certain people are the true libertarians.
Only certain people. Oh, well, so you know what? I guess our advertising worked. You know why? We just got a sale at the For Liberty shop. Let's give it up! Guys, we're well on the way to unlock the bonus content. We still got plenty of time left, 50 minutes or so, 55 minutes until the end of the show. So we got plenty of fun content left to go, lots to talk about, lots to discuss. We got to give it up for our boy Billy Boy, who went over to the shop and decided to buy a delicious box of Benjamin Franklin's Electric Elixir. Give it up for William Albrecht. Thanks, Will. Appreciate you, bud. Yeah, man, it's been great making friends. The tour is awesome. We get to get closer and hang out with the people who go to forlibertyshop.com and hear from them what they think about what we're doing, and to just to meet some interesting people.
I had not seen some of those shirts. I am looking forward to rolling into the beach with a couple of them.
Yeah, dude, you need to get the Gulf of America stuff because it is fun, it's funny, and people are going to look at that and be like, oh yeah, because you know what? It is the Gulf of America now, right? Let's hear it for the Gulf of America. Mr. Trump, thank you. Honestly, top 3 things that he did, even if it's a troll.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was funny to watch.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Now, I don't think Canada should become the 51st state.
No, we love our Canadian brethren.
But since we're neocons, apparently, we will take Alberta, Canada. We're coming for your oil.
Greenland.
Yeah, they're not going to use it. Greenland, yes. Now, yeah, I'm Danish, so I'm like, I don't pick on the Danes too much, President Trump, but maybe they'll accuse me of being a dual citizen. Can you imagine somebody like betraying the United States for Denmark? Or I really want to go live in Copenhagen the rest of my days, but
On a bicycle.
Ride the bicycle, the tulips. No, just kidding. I do love my Danish ancestors, but I'm an American first. American Joe, and America is the greatest nation on this earth. Let's give it up for the United States of America. Hoorah! It's good to be an American. It's good to be American. Good to be free. So we could actually, if we were in China right now, we could be talking about this stuff, Joe, could we?
No. See, the first 2 amendments are great. You can kind of say what you want. You're not going to have the government coming after you. Then you got the Second Amendment, and that's my favorite.
Yeah, so we love the Second Amendment. There would be no Beretta sitting behind me if we were in China talking about free speech and liberty and freedom. They would send a raid on us so fast that we'd be working in the camps. But we're glad to see 77 people joining us live on Rumble. I'm sure many more also are joining us over on X. Thank you to everyone who watches and supports the Wake Up America show. Things have been so exciting in the last few weeks with the Fox News appearances, which give us such a huge boost. And we've picked up new advertisers lately, which has also helped to pad the budget. Because when you got a baby, there's a lot of diapers. That baby is getting changed a lot. Have you noticed, Joe?
I noticed that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of diaper changes with the baby. But Hazel's been a trooper. Stephanie has been a champion. It takes a team. It takes a village to make things like this happen. And people who go and if you donate a Rumble Rant or you subscribe to the show, you're making a statement. That's why people get mad at Citizens United, Joe. They're like, Citizens United, corporations and free speech and all this stuff. And I'm like, corporations are people. They are. I have a corporation. I own an LLC. That's what makes the Wake Up America show happen. Free enterprise, that's another thing China wouldn't let their people do, ever.
Corporations are peaceably assembled people working together. Shocking.
Exactly, right? And then we don't have to do this with the government telling us what to do, what to say, how to say it. They say jump, we say how high. That's what's one of the greatest things about living in the United States is we have freedom of speech. And we can practice it, but not maybe scream it into a congressman's face at full volume, right, in full view of the Capitol Police. But, conduct yourselves accordingly, perhaps. But we're glad to have all of our friends hanging out with us in D.C. on the Liberty Tour because... I loved living here when I lived here this time, but it's a swamp, but there's a lot of history here.
You couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah.
Back to the real world.
Oh, I know. I have land, Joe. I live with purpose and meaning, and I can raise a family in a healthy environment, but because, quite frankly, D.C. is very toxic mentally, right, from a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely toxic, right? That's why I like to live in the country and raise my family there, and every once in a while come see Joe and go to the museums.
Yeah, the crazy part about D.C. that a lot of people don't realize, it's very much an industry town, and the industry is ruling. Mm-hmm. And that is beyond toxic. People show up here thinking they're going to change the world, not realizing that it just both sides feed off each other. And so when Donald Trump comes in and disrupts the industry, it's really cool. It is. It's fun to watch. I'm telling you, we're so close to unlocking the Lego mini documentary bonus content right now. You may think it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. When you drop $5 in this feed in the Rumble Rants, you're going to not only get to see, instead of commercials for our next commercial break, you get to watch the Lego mini documentary, but you're also making it so that when it's unlocked, Joe, other people around the world can see it because then we can share it publicly. If they don't unlock the bonus content and we're like $10 to $15 away, if we don't unlock it, it goes away forever, Joe.
Can't you help unlock it by getting something from the store and
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm seeing the great shirts.
The Doge.
I want the Doge.
The
shirt.
Doge, bro, I've not only got Doge. You know what you need to is the Doge notepad, right? Where it looks like a federal notepad and stuff. So you got to go to forlibertyshop.com and make a purchase if you haven't already, because we're so close. You get to unlock the mini documentary, and we'll have a lot of fun.
I'm getting the neon shirt too.
The neon shirt is awesome. I like that one, and I have the baseball version. It's like a baseball jersey, and it fits really snug. So it's like up in the top of your shirt. It makes you look really buff, even if you're like me, you got a bit of a belly, right? I don't know if anybody else knows, but the struggle is real there. But
I really need a tighter shirt.
yeah, it's like tied up here, but like it's good for the belly, like, you know, fits it right. It's called the Gun Running Shortstop. So check it out. And the Caucasians, you know, instead of the Redskins name, we have the Caucasians. That's a really popular one because they can't have white boys doing a white boy team. So we created the team of white boys, the Caucasians jersey. We have sold them. I love the Native Americans. We have these Native American friends, and they wear them. And it's got, like, you know, the Chad where it looks like you? It's the Chad meme, and it says Caucasians. Because we're white boys, are we? Let's give it up for the white boys. White boys. Did you know the white boys built America?
Oh, that's where we're going.
Oh no, we're going to George Washington's house, you know, but they're going to tell us that somebody else built it.
Oh, it's so cool. And this tour is awesome. So the group is going to Mount Vernon tomorrow. They have their big festival. They've got these big Revolutionary War reenactments, cannons going off.
Awesome.
They've got people dressed as Hessians running.
No way!
Yeah, they do.
Germans.
Yeah, they have them do a charge, and, you know, the good old American boys are getting down there.
Oh, let's have our Wiener Schnitzel and fight George Washington, yeah?
I think we found your native accent there.
Yeah.
That was a little too good, man.
Yeah, George Washington must die, yeah?
Well, they got his 10. It's awesome, and I'm so glad the tour happened to come around this particular weekend. When you were talking about planning it, was like, it's got to be the first week in May.
I'm so glad. Revolutionary War weekend. Let's give it up for the revolutionaries who built this country. Let's give it up for George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Thomas Paine, the founders, the unofficial founders. We saw Samuel Adams yesterday in the Capitol. Famous for beer and revolution. We appreciate the Samuel Adams. We appreciate the sacrifices the founding fathers made. Because we wouldn't be doing this, man. We wouldn't have free speech. There'd be no Beretta firearms sitting behind us. The founding fathers that built this country, they gave us a gift, didn't they, Joe?
Oh, yeah. And it's been interesting to see what we've been doing since.
Yeah, it's been a great run. The United States, even though it's sad that it's over.
It's over?
No,
because it kind of feels like we're sandblasting off all the rust, and we're giving a fresh coat of paint. Feels like we're just starting again.
Well, it does, but here's the problem. You know what I can see? The future, and it's President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Boo! Do you think Americans are dumb enough to do that?
No, and I think we're going to see a lot.
Yes!
I think we're going to see a whole lot of down ballot success with that one, too.
Man, I hope so. Now, from your lips to God's ears, Rabbi, as they say. I have to say that, you know, it's 8:15 a.m. Eastern time. I'm not on Central time, right? The time changes really mess with us. It's all, the show's only got 45 more minutes left to go. We're definitely going to unlock that bonus content. So make sure that you get that. I think it's like $10-15 until the end of the show, and we'll definitely get there for some generous person out there. And thank you to all who have already donated. We appreciate you guys. And thanks for putting up with the downgraded cameras and setup, just because when we're on the road, baby stuff takes priority over camera stuff, and Daddy only has 2 arms. So thanks so much for supporting the Wake Up America show, because your financial contributions, that make it easier for us to be able to do stuff like this and to be able to afford, crew. Brad is back home, and he's working today, and he's trying to keep all the ship running, because this really is an operation now. We've got a whole network for LibertyNetwork.com. The Liberty Tonight boys were on last night, and Daniela's getting married, so she's out for a week. But Culturama will be back. We have not just one show, we have 3-4 shows I know, sad. Oh, yeah. 4 shows on the For Liberty Network. It's not just one podcast, Joe. It's 4 shows now. You didn't even know this, that I had a video game streaming show.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah. So Friday nights we call it the Freedom Arcade, and we play games with the people who are hanging out with the followers. And the Freedom Arcade is a new show, and it's part of Rumble's creator program. We're exclusive members of the creator program on Rumble, which means that we get to work with their top talent, and we're great. You know what? Talking free speech. Let's give it up for Rumble for helping this show to happen, because this show would not. Let's give it up to Rumble because they make it happen. There's a lot of good game streams on there, and certainly big tech has not been friends to free speech in the past, right, Joe?
Shocked, I tell you.
Yeah. So I can't tell you how many times I've been banned. When I was running for office, I was getting banned on Facebook. Imagine losing your ability to speak to your audience and be able to do what you do and have somebody have that power over you.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I mean, back then, we were doing a lot with the Libertarian Republic. It was crazy what they did.
Oh, yeah.
Just in terms of everything. You were talking like, maybe I want to do a podcast. And old Liberty Laura was in the kitchen going, yeah, we can do that. But just what big tech did for so many years.
Yeah,
and
to silence us.
I'm waiting to see what's going to be happening next. All that they did was to shut down just voices of sanity.
Yeah, it's it's a good thing that Rumble is here, because without Rumble, we would not be able to operate in the way that we do. They have been a big partner. We're part of the creator program now. And Daniela actually just got accepted into the creator program. So her show, Culturama, is now a creator program partner with Rumble. And we're so thankful to that and to all who invested to make that company happen. So let's support Rumble. Click the like button on the stream and subscribe to the channel. If today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show, you're probably like, what the hell who are these guys? I'm Austin Peterson. This is my buddy, Joseph Trotter. He's a gentleman and a scholar. And as you can see, heavily armed. Give it up for Joe Trotter. Thanks for letting us host the show at his house. And we have a live audience. Let's give it up for the Cartooning family hanging out with us today. These gentlemen, they're being troopers. They're wearing the merch. We're going to get them on the show real quick. First of all, did anybody have any questions yet? Have you guys thought of any questions to ask?
When Elon Musk bought Twitter, most people got their license back for up to say what they want on Twitter.
Yes, but what's your question about that specifically?
You were talking about most people got banned from Facebook and it was
Oh yeah, good question there, Joe. He was asking about when Elon Musk took over Twitter. People were allowed to have more free speech. People like me, for sure. Well, yeah, and you too, Joe. People who are conservatives. We were getting banned and suppressed on every platform, but Elon, he saved our butts too, didn't he?
He did, and the funny part is he also is making the company profitable.
Yeah, imagine that.
That's the best part. I mean, you had Twitter, it had this big valuation. I don't think they'd ever actually made a profit in the, 10-plus years that they were there. Elon takes over, goes ahead, just trims the fat in terms of all the censors. I mean, all those people, I'm not really shedding a tear here that they lost their job. It happens. But the marketplace said, hey, we want something where you can go ahead and speak and, make money instead of spending it all on censorship. It was wild.
Yeah, I love seeing Elon fighting for freedom with DOGE, but I am glad he's going to get back to private market because, honestly, the government is broken, and if it doesn't appreciate what Elon's doing with Doge, he needs to get out there and be our Tesla, He needs to get out there and build electric cars, and I'm going to support him. Our buddy Mark, he bought a Tesla, because once they started putting swastikas on Teslas and stuff like that, he's like, I'm getting one now.
Open up a whole new market segment.
Hey, good for him, though.
So out in West Virginia, we occasionally see Teslas, and they have these... They have these license plates there that say "Friend of Coal."
Yes.
And so you'll see a Tesla, and it just says "Friend of Coal" on it. Because where do you think they're getting the electricity for it?
Yeah, energy matters, and I'm glad that we're having conversations about nuclear power. And even Microsoft, Bill Gates, they were trying to start 3 Mile Island back up because they need it for AI.
Oh, it's crazy watching what's going on. In my previous job, we were dealing with this a lot. You're seeing a resurgence in nuclear. but it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of fuel. We were getting a bunch of our fuel from Russia, and you know, the Biden administration was shutting down our ability to produce our own fuel. I mean, but with this rise in tech, it's becoming profitable again to go ahead and build energy infrastructure in the United States.
Love it.
And
Love it.
It's going to wind up impacting us all in great, great ways. You're going to have more reliability, cheaper.
Drill, baby, drill. Build nuclear power plants. I'm an everything, all of the above person. Give me Elon Musk's Teslas running on solar-powered batteries, and give me, you know, more nuclear fuel rods and all that stuff, and get over this hippie notion that, you know, nuclear power is not clean, safe power. It is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you're seeing a restoration insanity. One of the craziest things I dealt with, I'm going to pick on Oregon for a quick second. They decided that they were going to be, you know, super liberal and virtue signal. And so they said, you know, by 2035, we're going to have 50% renewable power. And so they passed this law, and somebody pointed out, hey guys, 51% of your power is done by hydropower. And so they turned around, they made a law that said hydropower is not clean energy.
Hydropower? Water.
Is not clean energy. So that they can go ahead and still try to kick all the natural gas plants offline. And then they turned around, they wrecked 4 of the 9 dams that produce hydropower.
Yeah, well, I don't want to lose. Go ahead.
The best part is they said, we're going to make up the difference by getting energy from California.
Oh, no. Might as well be Russia. Boo, California. No, I miss California. I wish California was the California it was under Ronald Reagan when he was the governor of California. Saw Ronald Reagan in the Capitol yesterday. Let's hear it up for the conservatives icon, Ronald Reagan, who's, in my opinion, definitely a good president, but, you know, there's a lot of people who like to complain and criticize. I don't want to miss the point of the question, which was about Twitter and getting our free speech back, because it was so oppressive online for people who believe what we believe. And I'm not a let's bomb the Capitol, let's do something crazy insane. I'm not an insane person. I think I'm a reasonable, rational person, and who has earned especially the right to free speech. Even like some people, like you have rights even if you don't do things to earn them, but like other people, if you want to engage in civic activism and stuff like that, like I definitely earned a seat at the table to have the right to have the speech that I have, you know, and I got my education, I got my knowledge, I should be able to say these things. But the problem is that the left doesn't believe that I should have the right to say these things. Not even, or when it's a public platform, it's a question of if somebody owns a private property, can they not kick anybody off of it? Sure, they can kick people off of it. But it was an insidious attack on free speech from the effect of, we're going to support this version, and we're not going to even allow this thing. And this is how the left has used what we call the Overton window. If you think about what is allowed and what's allowed to speak about, the left wants it. We don't want a nice big window to see what all the views are. The left wants us to all see the world through this kind of lens, doesn't it, Joe? Right?
Oh, yeah.
When in reality, there's actually a bigger picture, isn't there, Joe?
There is. You don't want to slam the Overton window completely open. That's how you get just a rise in general extremism and just basically less civility amongst people. And yeah, it may have been a company, and you know that's a private enterprise, but it was a publicly traded company. Its business is to go ahead and make money, and going ahead and spending money to censor people and get people off is just kind of a terrible business decision.
I'm so thrilled. I got to say, we've got a breaking news alert. We have just unlocked the bonus content. Let's give it up! Yes! So, you know, there's a valuable lesson here. I hope the young guys here, if they become big streamers one day, maybe they're going to become the next Mr. Beast over here, right? Is that they see that we do run this thing like a business, like an operation, but it wouldn't happen without our customers. And I hope you are happy, satisfied customers, enjoying the content that we create for the Wake Up America show. The bonus content we're going to play it right now. We'll take another quick little break. We've got 30 more minutes left to go on the show. Let's give it up for the Wake Up America show and the For Liberty tour. We'll see you guys. Enjoy the bonus content, and we'll be right back.
Artificial intelligence didn't
Boom. 5
steal
minutes.
$10 million in taxpayer money.
California handed it over with a clipboard and a friendly smile. Yes, bots are getting smarter. But government, still dumb as ever. In a story so ridiculous it should have come from The Onion, it turns out AI-powered scammers created fake community college students in California, complete with fake assignments and fake attendance, and then walked away with millions in federal and state financial aid. How? Because the bureaucrats who run California's education system apparently thought it would be rude to ask a student if they were, a real human being. Let's break it down. Scammers used AI to generate fake student identities. These bots enrolled in online classes, submitted basic assignments to appear legitimate, and as soon as they qualified for aid, boom, they disappeared, taking roughly $13 million with them. That's $10 million in federal Pell Grants and another $3 million in California state money flushed straight into the digital void. You might think this took some kind of genius-level cyber attack. Nope. They filled out the applications. That's it. Because California's system was built on the honor system and some duct tape. Even back in 2021, warnings were flying around that 20% of applicants might be fake. But hey, why ruin the illusion of equity with something boring like verification? Now, with the help of ChatGPT knockoffs and a couple stolen identities, the fraud has exploded. In some cases, 1 out of every 3 students in California's community colleges isn't a person. It's an AI-generated identity cashing checks from your tax dollars. The state's solution? They formed something called the Inauthentic Enrollment Mitigation Task Force. Because nothing solves cutting-edge crime like a government committee that sounds like it was named by Dilbert's boss. They've dumped $150 million into cybersecurity, shoved the burden onto professors to play fraud cop, and are acting shocked that people would take advantage of a system that basically yells, "Free money, no questions asked." Here's where the political reaction gets worse. Instead of focusing on the obvious failure and outdated, bloated, clueless bureaucracy, some politicians are now blaming AI itself. "We need to rein in this dangerous technology," they shout from the podium. No, we need to rein in the bureaucratic incompetence that let this happen in the first place. AI didn't rob the taxpayers. AI didn't rig the financial aid process. That honor belongs to the same government geniuses who ran unemployment fraud into the tens of billions during COVID. These are the people who thought no-bid contracts and identity blind systems were progress. And now they're shocked when someone exploits the hole in the fence they refused to patch for 5 years. Let's be clear, AI is absolutely worth the risk. Every powerful tool in history, electricity, the automobile, the internet, has come with downsides. People misuse tools. That's reality. But we don't ban electricity because someone gets electrocuted. We build safeguards, use the tech responsibly, and move forward. AI will bring medical breakthroughs, smarter logistics, better education, even tools to help prevent fraud, if we let it. But we won't get there if every time a bureaucrat screws up, we blame the technology and not the idiot behind the desk. If anything, this California case proves that government is not ready for the tools it's trying to regulate. These systems were supposed to be running on smart infrastructure. Instead, they're running on spreadsheets, good intentions, and 1990s login pages. So what should we do? First, fix the systems. Require real-time identity verification. Use AI tools against fraudsters, not as a scapegoat. Modernize infrastructure. Actually listen to the whistleblowers who were screaming about this years ago. Second, don't let politicians use this mess to shut down innovation. Because you know what happens when you let fear set the rules? You end up with more broken systems, fewer tools, and even more power in the hands of the people who caused the problem in the first place. This isn't a cautionary tale about the dangers of AI. It's a warning about what happens when you pair powerful technology with decades-old government rot. Thanks for watching. If you're tired of the same broken bureaucracies blaming the tools instead of fixing the system, check out forlibertyshop.com. We've got gear that celebrates innovation, mocks central planning, and funds the kind of truth-telling content they don't want you to hear. That's forlibertyshop.com, where freedom never crashes and the merch actually ships. See you next time.
When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time.
Are you tired of the strange
Small batch roasted,
radioactive
Patriot
effects of
approved,
leftist
and disappearing
culture?
faster than a red coat at
Do you ever
Yorktown.
wonder what happened to good old-fashioned
Don't get left behind,
American
soldier.
values?
Real patriots
Well,
are
fear no
starting
more,
their
because
mornings with
there's a
Founding
new
flavors.
force fighting
And
back
trust us,
against the cultural
freedom
rot
tastes
of
better
today.
with a fresh cup in your hand.
Introducing Culturama.
Stop drinking those tyrant
A right-of-center
brews who
talk
take your
show
money
that's
and don't
taking
support your
back the
values.
future. Today,
Stocks are limited,
hosted
demand
by
is
none
booming,
other than
and your morning
Bob
deserves a
Bombshell
taste of
herself,
liberty.
Daniela Pensac.
Order now at
She's not just
4libertyshop.com
talking, she's
before the next
taking
shipment
back.
gets signed,
Sharp
sealed,
tips,
and sold out.
brilliant guests, and a few
Founding
surprises
Flavors
along
Coffee,
way. Tune
the
in to
official
live
brew of
video
morning rebellions
podcast
everywhere.
twice a week, because the future
Get yours at
doesn't have to be
forlibertyshop.com.
weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network, and we're on the For Liberty Tour, the APDC Liberty Tour on the road in Washington, D.C. We're currently in the home residence of my good friend, Joseph Lewis Trotter III. Let's give it up for Joe. And the Cartoonin family is with us, the Cartoonins. We're having a blast here, and thanks so much for unlocking the bonus content, guys. Again, I can't tell you enough how much it means to me to have all of your support. And if you can't afford to give or to purchase at the shop, just remember, liking the content, following the show is a great way to support us. It doesn't cost a thing, Joe, and thank you so much for being a benefactor and for letting us hang out in your house.
Absolutely. Love having you here.
We appreciate you, sir. We appreciate you. So we were just actually telling the boys about this story, because what do we have here, Joseph? Tell us.
We have a George Washington replica gun from his Revolutionary War days.
So there are two of these that George Washington has, and they're on display, aren't they, at the museum in Mount Vernon?
I think one is. I think the other one was lost to history.
I think it's that the museum here in Mount Vernon has one, and I think the other one is maybe at like West Point. Possibly. If I'm mistaken, somebody in the chat let me know. This gun, the replica gun here, has a history. I have a history with this gun.
We have a history.
We have a history with this gun.
So back in the day, this guy was running for president for some reason.
You know.
As a libertarian.
Like, boo! Boo!
And he was running around, there's the iconic shot of Austin looking serious, holding it up. And, yeah, it was great, but, he was running around on the campaign trail being like, let's bring us back, let's restore, like, the values that our founders brought.
The revolution continues.
Yeah, and then fast forward, and Gary Johnson happened to win. Austin went up on stage, gave this great speech. We were talking about it, and he, as a gesture of respect, he takes his pistol and says, Gary, you have my sword, but you literally have my pistol. Hands it to Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson, being Gary Johnson, I never liked the guy.
Boo!
Yeah, he took it, got off stage, and hucked it in the trash. And one of our campaign supporters found it in the trash and brought it back, and it became a part of the news cycle for a bit. Sorry, the hunting dog, just when she sees a gun,
she's like, let's go hunting, Dad.
She thinks she's about to have a really good time. So you got the pistol back, and it became a news story for a bit there.
Yeah, it was a really sad story, but also kind of like what the really sad part of it too is that once the news hit and they were like, what happened to the gun? Apparently Gary's people, like, he sent somebody to come talk to me, and it was that they wanted to buy it back from me. And
I remember that.
Yes.
You just went, no.
No. Well, here's the thing, but they tried to buy it back because they didn't want people being angry anymore, because they realized it was a really stupid thing to do, right? Especially in front of all the cameras, in front of the people. And so they go, we'll give you $500 for it. And I go, no. And then they go, we'll give you $1,500 for that gun. And I go, absolutely not. And they go, we will give you a blank check. Name your price. What do you want for that gun? Can you imagine how much my supporters would have hated my guts if I sold that gun? It wouldn't matter if it was $1 million. If they had given me $1 million, I mean, yeah, I would have had a nice fat payday, but some things are worth more than money, aren't they, Joe?
They are, and I had a great time because you just looked at me and just said, run with it.
Yeah. Joe was my communications director in the campaign, which means that he was responsible for telling the story of the campaign. He was the storyteller, and he would contact the press, and he would run our op-eds, and Joe was a really talented communications guy there, and it's a shame that we didn't get to see what our presidential campaign would have looked like. The world missed out, I feel like, but I'm a little biased because I ran. But the nice thing about running for president is when people are complaining, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, bitch, like, I ran for president. What have you done to try and bring about to make this country a better place? Like, get off your ass, But Joe, I really appreciate all you've done for me over the years, and I think there's no Wake Up America show without Joseph Trotter, because Joe has helped to facilitate a lot of what we do over the years, and certainly we're here now, and he's got fast internet. So
I'm going to take one last shot at Gary Johnson here.
Let's hear it.
Boy.
Let's hear it.
Oh, we all saw how that campaign went.
Oh yeah. Whoa, God, the guy sticking out his tongue at reporters. What is Aleppo? Yeah.
We go roll around on The View.
Oh God, and then his vice presidential candidate was praising Hillary Clinton as a very fine person. Yes.
What was it? Bill something?
Bill Weld.
Oh, geez.
And then he ran for president. Like the next time after, nobody even knew, because. So, in some ways, my campaign was more successful. Where's Bill Weld now, But it's a strange world we live in. But, we've had some incredible stories, haven't we not? Yeah, we have. Jimmy Joe Patty, he's one of our buddies. He posted a picture yesterday, or the other day on the stream. We shared a picture that he texted into us and said, I supported Gary Johnson in the previous election cycle, but he made it easy for me to vote Republican after he tossed the flintlock. Whoa, Jimmy Joe, he's OG. He knows the story. Wow. It's amazing how sometimes if you think what you do in a fit of rage, how it can impact you negatively down the way. And that's why it's best 9 times out of 10 to always respond, to like turn the other cheek to some extent, and to like not necessarily return every single. You know what my boss, Judge Napolitano, used to say? don't stop to kick. If a dog barks at you, do you bark back? Like, well, a dog's barking. It's a dog. Just keep walking. Don't stop to kick every barking dog. Don't pick every fight. Right?
There's a time and a place to get mad.
Yeah.
And there's a time and a place to, make a grand gesture. Not as often as you would think.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. And people will have you fall in there. I've been thinking about this a lot. People will gladly have you martyr yourself for a cause that they don't believe in, right? A lot of people will always tell you, oh, yeah, go kill yourself. We don't care what happens to you and all that stuff. But you have to have an instinct for self-preservation, don't you, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, one of the big things in politics and just in life is if your opposition is shooting themselves in the foot, let them.
Yeah. Barney Stiles says, I would have forgiven you for $1 million. So far, it's been a fun show. I mean, we had the technical challenges at the front end, but we got it on its feet. And I'm glad people are tuning in here on a beautiful Friday morning here and joining us on the Wake Up America show live. I hope people are going to be back to see us on Tuesday, I think, or we're back. We're back. We're traveling Monday, so we'll be back Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, the Wake Up America show is back in full swing. But it's nice to have a few days to have fun.
We're not getting up at 5:30 a.m. on Sunday?
No. So, yeah, we basically, and we also have a little baby. I think we slept 4 hours last night, and we've just been go, go, go. And, of course, we're glad that the tour is happening. It's actually 22 people is a good, manageable amount of people. If it was more, we'd probably be a little bit in trouble.
It's good folks, too. It's always good to see people in person. And, so much of your campaign and everything else was online. Whenever we got a chance to get together, that was just the highlights.
I love it.
To Kansas City,
yes.
Coming to New York, when you got the whole crew came to D.C. I'm happy you guys are here. I'm really like the whole crew. Met them all last night, and it's going to be a fun rest of the week. This was a good idea.
This was a good idea. Thank you. Yes, and it was great to meet so many people. Amy J. Eves, she's here with us today. She just messaged in and said that she's going to go eat breakfast, and she's going to see us at the museum. Yes. Also, don't forget, everybody, we're going to be 30 minutes later. Just give a little more breathing room. So we'll meet at the museum at 10:30 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. this morning, so you guys can have a little bit of breathing room with travel and transportation. D.C. is crazy. People underestimate how the traffic and slow road closures can, slow people down. But we were only 10 minutes late to dinner last night, but it was so good. The Peruvian chicken, oh my gosh, that charcoal roasted chicken was so good.
It's so good. There's so much. It's so relatively inexpensive. Crazy thing is, I went to Peru. I never saw anything like it.
Well, it's funny you say that because Stephanie and I, whenever we go to Peruvian restaurants, they always have it. Yeah.
When I went to Mexico, I had the same thing basically.
Oh yeah, Mexico? Yeah.
The Mexican food around here is pretty good too.
Mexican food also very good, yes. The charcoal roasted chicken with the amarillo sauce was delicious at Super Pollo.
Super Pollo.
Super Pollo, we would highly recommend. Quincy Street in Ballston, Arlington, Virginia. Super Pollo.
See, that's a big shout out because it's not like there's some sort of Peruvian chicken every mile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
In a grid pattern across the entire city.
No.
For good reason.
Yeah, we hadn't had it until really, we went to a really fancy place in St. Louis, Stephanie and I, for her birthday. But other than that, we have to make it at home if we want to have it because there is nothing out in the woods where we live in Missouri. So we like to grill at home and make our own delicious meats. Entropy Nomad's in the chat. Quest Fanning is here. He's here with us today. Let's give it up for Quest Fanning. Quest and Kate and Franny and Quest and Kate and Franny, they rock. Brad Beckman's in the chat. Appreciate you, Brad. Will Run Riot. Sambucus. Barney Stiles. Grizz Cheese. If you want a Grizz Cheese, then you gotta have a Grizz Cheese. Sambu and all of our other friends hanging out. Itchy McGroin in the chat. We've only got about 15 more minutes left on the show, but it's been a great show. We've covered a lot. I mean, from immigration to NPR and PBS, killing Big Bird. We've really run the gamut, and it's been a fun show, Joe.
Yep.
So in the last 15 minutes, I guess we'll probably just say that Let's finish this by saying where do we think the Trump administration goes from here? Because he's kind of right now they've got the wagon circle. I saw that there was the national security advisor. He had to step down. Mike Walls over at the Pentagon. So Trump is getting big victories, but he does have some clear obstacles in his way. Running an efficient Pentagon, no easy task. And so hopefully he gets a team of professionals in there to run the military in a fashion that is in accordance with the best and highest principles of the United States, and people who can protect our national security. But on things like immigration and on the economy and certain things, certainly you could I give Trump a 6.5 out of 10 on a liberty score for the top first 100 but honestly, you always have to consider what was the alternative. Kamala, negative 20. Things could be better, but they could always be worse, can't they, Joe?
Oh yeah. Hey, back in the day, Kamala came after the donor list for the organization we worked for. The case actually wound up in front of the Supreme Court, so you can imagine where my vote was.
For sure. We have to step in and to the gap and fight the Democrats and get on the front lines and be warriors for liberty and stand up for the principles of the Constitution and the founders. Do we have a copy of the Constitution in here? I think it's time for us to see the Cartoonin family and what they brought to bear, because here's what I'd like. What did you guys bring here today? I actually like that better than the Constitution. Come on over here, guys. Let's take a look. Now the camera's right here. Come stand right in front of it. Let's check out the DOGE shirt. You're gonna have to kind of crouch down and take a look at into the camera there. You can see the Cartoonin family here. There we go. Say your name for the camera.
Soren.
Yeah, Soren and. Who do we have here? Arvo. Soren and Arvo. And this guy's the Sonic the Hedgehog guy, but check out the trucker cap here from For Liberty Shop, as well as the George Washington smoking coin. And they're here on the APDC Liberty Tour. Show us the Declaration of Independence that you picked up yesterday. Hold it up to the camera there, just like that. Turn it around. So you hold the top, and I'll hold the bottom, so that they can see it. There it is. Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence. On the very Jeffersonian Wake Up America show. Thanks for coming on, guys. Come on. Excuse me, Ryan. Let's take a look here at the. Let's see the Hawaiian. Let's check out the For Liberty shop. Check it out.
As long as you're modeling.
Look at this. There you go. You got a George Washington out there. It's not loaded. Yeah. There you go. Check it out. He's got the neon machine guns Hawaiian trucker. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for bringing your family. It's great to meet them all, and of course the lovely Andrea. We're glad to have everybody here with us today. So let's have a seat, guys. Let's finish this strong. Take a sip of water and reflect.
Reflect on our liberty.
Reflect on our freedoms. Well, today we go to the American History Museum. If we have time, if people aren't too exhausted or sweaty, we'll go to Thomas Jefferson's memorial.
Oh, you have to go to the Jefferson. It's my favorite monument in D.C.
It's very peaceful.
Very peaceful. It's beautiful. Just that whole area, the tidal basin.
When the cherry blossoms are in full bloom, and we were here last year for the Cherry Blossom Festival, when the cherry blossoms in full bloom and you're standing at the Jefferson Memorial looking out across, you see, it's inspirational, the beauty that you see. It is a rejection of what the Democrats want for us, which is the dull, gray, communist, brutalist forms.
What, you mean the FDR Memorial?
The FDR Memorial. We had to stop by and give the finger to the FDR Memorial while we're over to see Jefferson. But let's go today to the American History Museum. Let's look at the history of America's wars. Let's talk about the women that made America great. Because let's be honest, we beat up on the ladies a bit sometimes on this show, but we love you, ladies. And without Stephanie, without Hazel, without Amy, without all the lovely ladies of liberty out there, America would not be what it is today without the ladies of liberty, would it?
God, no, let's not beat up on the ladies. I mean, look,
unless they ask us.
We're two sides of the same coin here. I mean, America would not be great without the men, and it certainly wouldn't be great without the women.
Of course, we love the ladies in our lives who help to make what we do as men possible. Because healthy relationships, healthy families, and healthy friendships build healthy lives. And part of my sort of mantra, it's an unofficial motto to some extent, is just to build healthy communities. And certainly the Wake Up America show is one of those healthy communities. We try and attract people who are earnest and value loyalty and have courage and respect and embody virtues. So what those virtues are would take another 2-hour show for us to get through, but we're not going to do that to you guys. We're not going to go back to ancient Greece and talk about eudaimonia because of Aristotle and Plutarch and Philip II and Alexander the Great. We're going to talk about the things that affect us here and today, the table issues, So, Joe, as we kind of wrap it up, do you have any sort of final thoughts or things like key points that you want to highlight? Do you have any questions, guys, before you go? If anybody else wants to weigh in, now's your chance.
I'm just going to throw out there that I got to make a plug for the bosses and what I do day to day.
Yeah.
So I work with a group called Americans for Clean Water, and we are looking heavily at, interestingly, considering the title there, domestic supply chain issues and what we get from overseas versus here. And we are promoting recycling here because we want to make sure that our domestic supply chains work. And as we see an increase in manufacturing, businesses coming back and everything that goes into it, we didn't just lose our manufacturing base, we also lost a whole lot of our just material supply chain. So follow me to check out
where should people follow you?
At the Trot Spot on X.
The Trot Spot?
Yep.
How does one spell the Trot Spot?
TheTrottSpot.
The Trot, 2 T's, double T, spot at X. Yes, young man.
Is this video going to be on YouTube?
It is on YouTube. Yes, it is.
YouTube and like other channels?
Yep, you can see it on
Social
YouTube,
media
on
everywhere.
X, on Rumble. You can see lots of different places.
Blue Sky.
And great no, not Blue Sky. We support Rumble, X, and on YouTube, and sometimes Facebook, but sometimes Facebook doesn't like us. We've been having a really nice, calm, chill, funny conversation this morning. But sadly, it is time for us to play the outro music that we don't have because we don't have all the equipment for it. But we're glad that you joined us here today. And if you enjoyed this show today, don't forget when you exit, we don't exit through the gift shop, we exit through the grift shop. Go to forlibertyshop.com, grab yourself a delicious box of Founding Flavors coffee, make rebellions great again, and your mornings great again, as well as our delicious For Liberty at forlibertyshop.com. Support the show, support the movement, support the revolution, and let's make America great again. Joe, cartoonist, speak now, forever hold your peace. Ryan, everybody great. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys here on Tuesday on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Yeah. There we go. Transition.
When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. Small batch roasted, Patriot approved, and disappearing faster than a redcoat at Yorktown. Don't get left behind, soldier. Real patriots are starting their mornings with Founding Flavors. And trust us, freedom tastes better with a fresh cup in your hand. Stop drinking those tyrant brews who take your money and don't support your values. Stocks are limited, demand is booming, and your morning deserves a taste of liberty. Order now at forlibertyshop.com before the next shipment gets signed, sealed, and sold out. Founding Flavors Coffee, the official brew of morning rebellions everywhere. Get yours at forlibertyshop.com.